ranking some of the most popular fragrances from my collection. Hi everyone, I'm John Lima and welcome back to my channel, Scented Moments, where we discuss everything about perfumes. So in this video, we'll be ranking 10 of the most popular fragrances from my collection. Like I said, this was a very hard video to put together. Actually, I had planned to record this video for a couple of weeks now, but it was so hard to rank them. I really love every single one of these fragrances. That's why I have them in the first place. But I try to be as objective as possible. So the criteria that I followed to rank this list, it's not just based on scent preference, but also it's about the trends that they set or not, like basically what impact they had in the perfume market. Also how popular they are. Definitely some fragrances here are more popular than others. Also in terms of quality, there are some that can come across a bit slightly more of a high quality than others. Creativity, uniqueness, I mean, all of that combined helped me to put together the most objective rank list, at least as possible. And without further ado, let's get started with the number 10 spot. Now, coming in the number 10 spot, we have a fragrance from the house of Stephane Humbert Lucas. That's it. This brand, I absolutely love it, first of all. But second, I really want to talk about this fragrance more and more. It's been a while since I talked about Stephane fragrances. I mean, I talked about a recent fragrance that I added to my collection on my latest fragrance haul, Takla Makan. It's not the one that I will feature here, but this is also in part because when I moved to Lithuania, I mean, I still didn't transfer all the fragrances from my collection here, so a lot of Stephane still are in Lisbon. But the last time I went to Portugal, I returned from Portugal, I took with me a few Stephane Humbert Lucas fragrances because I want to talk about them more during the winter time and fall as well. Stay tuned for my fall list. And this fragrance I also added very recently to my collection. I know, like I said, I uploaded very recently a fragrance haul, but actually since then I did added quite a few more fragrances to my collection. So there will be a new fragrance haul quite soon. But so with that being said, the fragrance here, it is God of Fire. God of Fire. Beautiful bottle. I love this blue turquoise color. God of Fire in the number 10 spot from the Serpent collection. This fragrance for me, it's in the number 10 just because it's not the most unique and it's not the most popular of the 10 fragrances that I have here. So that's why it's in the number 10 spot. This was released in 2022. This is a creamy mango ginger fragrance with an ambery woodsy base. It has also a bit of an Ambrox like quality into it, which gives this fresh borderline aquatic feel, and it's wonderful. Now, this was not love at first sniff. When I first tried this fragrance, I was not impressed, and definitely it's not the most unique. And that's why, again, number 10 is not the most unique. It's not the fragrance that set the trend, no. And it's also a bit pricey. I mean, it's over 200 euros for 50 ml. So all of that combined make this as the number 10. Nonetheless, it's a great scent. Again, it's a fruity, sparkly, bit fresh, woodsy, ambery type of scent. You have out there like these fruity, sweet, fresh fragrances, a lot of them out there, but this one makes it to perfection. Now, this was not a love at first sniff, even because of how the scent came across, and I rediscovered this year at Embassy. And actually, funny enough, while I was recording the video with Raquel about her favorite summer fragrances of this year, definitely check that video out if you have yet to. And one of the fragrances she chose was this one. And I was a bit surprised. And I was like, okay, let me give this a second chance. I sprayed it on my skin. Wow, I was like, okay, this is really good. Why I didn't like this the first place. So yes, that's why then I added I needed to add this fragrance to my collection. Beautiful, beautiful scent. Again, not the most unique, but performance is incredible, and still you will be smelling very, very sensual for the summertime. I think this fragrance for me screams summer. God of Fire from Stephane Humbert from the Serpent collection in the number 10 spot. Now coming in the number 9 spot, this will be a shocker for many of you. It was also for me. I was not expecting to put this in number 9, but then considering all the fragrances, I needed to. And there's a context for that. So the fragrance is from the house of Xerjoff Naxos. That's right, just number 9 spot, Naxos. Bear in mind, I have this fragrance for a long time. I brought with me actually during this last trip from Portugal, and so this is pre-reformulation. I don't know if you know, but Naxos was reformulated, I mean, a year or two ago, and currently doesn't have this color, this golden ambery color. It's a bit more transparent, and that also represents the scent itself. Now this version, like the original formulation, it's more sweet, and it has a very thick, delicious, by the way, honey accord. The new formulation is more balanced in the sweetness and in the honey. It's more intense in the lavender. It has more of a fougere quality into it. The tobacco is still there, the sweetness is still there, the honey is still there, but it's more balanced. Here it's more sweet, dare I say also a bit more fruity, like berry, red berry, cherry-like almost, whilst the new version it's more balanced. So for people who did not appreciate the sweetness of Naxos, now that is more balanced, maybe they will appreciate more the new version. So coming back to the reason why Naxos, the best seller of Xerjoff, the most popular fragrance from Xerjoff, and actually one of the most popular fragrances is right now. And that is because when this fragrance was released 10 years ago, this was released in 2015. This fragrance was incredibly similar to an existing design of fragrance that costed a very small fraction of the retail price of Naxos, which was Pure Evan by Mugler, so part of the A-Man line, which was released in 2011. And that fragrance was extremely popular. I'm very fortunate to have it in my collection. I cherish that fragrance and that whole line. I mean, it's such a shame what L'Oreal did with that A-Man line. I mean, it was so unique. And so almost trendsetter in terms of smell, and very avant-garde, especially for a designer, incredibly affordable as well. I mean, it costed back then 100 ml for 40 euros, and Naxos was, I mean, already in the 200 euros for a 100 ml. So you can imagine how people were a bit shocked. How come this fragrance is so much close and so similar to a fragrance that costs, I mean, very small fraction of it. Scent-wise, I mean, of course, you could see that the sweetness, especially the honey here, came across as a more natural smelling honey, a bit more smooth, not as sharp and sweet, because Pure Evan was quite sweet, and it had this very more fruity edge into it, this red berry edge. It was more prominent in Pure Evan, but ultimately they were very similar. So this didn't have the unique touch, and that's why for me, coming back to those times, I mean, it's hard to justify ranking this one higher than number 9. The unique factor is not there. It was not a fragrance that created trends. It's not. I mean, even Pure Evan was not. This is not the first sweet tobacco fragrance released. So trend-wise, didn't set any trend. It was not unique, especially because there was already an existing design of fragrance out there that was very similar and way cheaper. And so because of that, it's number 9. Just because of that. Nevertheless, this is a stunning scent, great performance. Currently, it's in fact one of the best tobacco fragrances out there. It's a reference in terms of sweet tobacco fragrances, especially in the niche side. But for me, although as much as I love this fragrance, Naxos, it's in number 9. Now coming in the number 8 spot, this can be as well a shocker for you because this is also a very popular fragrance, also one of the best sellers from this brand. It's from the house of Maison Française Kurkdjian, and it is Grand Soir. I mean, you see the dent here as well. In Naxos you could see the dent, but this one you can see more clear. I love Grand Soir. Grand Soir was released in 2017, and for me it was love at first sniff. It had a huge impact in my fragrance journey. It was one of the first niche fragrances that I tried. It was love at first sniff back then. Still absolutely love it. It's a fragrance that I have so many great memories attached. I consider this fragrance to be one of the best amber fragrances in the market. For me, this is also one of the best date night fragrances you can ever wear. So, I mean, it has all of that, let's say, subjectivity attached. But also, this for me is more of a unique fragrance in terms of ambers. You have so many amber fragrances out there. And this definitely did not create a trend, but it did something different. Back then in 2017 when this was released, I mean, you didn't have amber fragrances that smell like this. To this day, I still cannot smell a fragrance that it comes close to Grand Soir. Although this genre is almost saturated, but how Kurkdjian did Grand Soir, I mean, it really added something different. Although not different enough to set a trend, but it's just such a fluffy, sweet, cozy, ambery fragrance. It has this amazing benzoin note in here, and I just love it. It really feels like touching clouds, like the clouds that smell like amber, if that makes sense. It's so good. And it has also, within its coziness, it still has a sensuality into it because of the sweetness, and it's very addicting. Love the vanilla in here as well. Again, very fluffy, such a fluffy amber, and it's one that I really love, and it's a bestseller from Kurkdjian, and that's why I'm ranking a bit higher than Naxos because of the uniqueness that it brings, because it's more unique than Naxos was in its genre. So that's why it's a number 8. Still not popular enough, I mean, to be higher in the to be higher ranked, and also not trendsetter enough or at all to be also higher in the list. But nonetheless, stunning fragrance, one of my favorite amber fragrances ever, Grand Soir by Francis Kurkdjian, in this list, number 8 spot. Coming in the number 7 spot, another shocker, maybe, or maybe not, but definitely might be a shocker for many of you who love this fragrance. I mean, I love this fragrance as well. It's from the house of Louis Vuitton Imagination. That's right, and I've been talking about Imagination lately. I mean, you know how much I love this one now, and I think this is a stunning scent. But comparing with all the fragrances that I have here, and you will see all the others, I think it will then start to make more sense. At least I hope so. But it was hard to justify this being ranked above any other. Just because, although I love it and I'm really enjoying it, let's be objective. Although it's extremely popular, I think it's the most popular fragrance. It could arguably be currently the most popular fragrance in this list. So if this would be a popularity contest, this will be in the number 1. Now I think I will be clear. Number 1 or number 2 maybe. 1 or 2. But definitely way above in the ranking list. But this is not a popularity contest. It's not just a popularity contest. And it's also about scent. It's about uniqueness. It's about if it created trends. Did it create a trend? It's hard to say. It's like yes and no. It created a trend in a sense because this is Louis Vuitton and it's one of the best sellers, and because there are fragrance brands, especially clones, that want to copy because it's one of the best sellers and it's popular. So created a trend in that regard, yes. Scent profile wise, no. In a way that you have fragrances like this in the market. I said this before when talking about Imagination. This fragrance could easily be part of the Bulgari's tea line. Easily. And I said the parfumeur of Imagination is the same that created the tea line of Bulgari, Jacques Cavalier. This fragrance could easily be part of that. So it's nothing new really. And even if it would not be Bulgari's, I mean, you have so many other tea fragrances out there. I actually did a video about some alternatives to Louis Vuitton's Imagination, so definitely feel free to check that video out. And you have a lot of options out there. So this is not like a super unique, original, trend-setting scent that was never created before in that regard. So that's why this is not higher in the list, and also it's extremely expensive. So that's why it's just in the number 7 spot. Nonetheless, stunning scent. The tea in here, the spicy nuance is absolutely stunning, super versatile. You have still a fresh quality into it. Really adore Imagination. I didn't want it to be honest. I didn't want it to love this fragrance as much as I love, but I mean, I can't deny it's quite good. The performance also is quite good. But like I said, it's the uniqueness and the price attached to it that makes this fragrance a bit lower. But again, fantastic scent. Imagination by Louis Vuitton. Now coming in number 6 spot, this is from the house of Amouage, and this one is Reflection Man. Reflection Man, not the Reflection 45, but the original Reflection Man, and you see also the amazing dent here. Now, Reflection Man in terms of popularity is definitely less popular than Imagination, I would say. But ultimately, I mean, Amouage is less popular than Louis Vuitton. So that also has also we need to factor that. But again, like I said, this is not just a popularity context. This is about everything connected to the scent, everything connected to how I feel about the scent, and if they created trends, so on. No, but definitely Reflection Man is extremely popular. And I would say that this is one of the best sellers of the brand. Easily. Maybe not the best seller, maybe it is. I don't know. Actually, I didn't check right now which one is the best seller of Amouage, but it's definitely up there. Is definitely up there. And Reflection Man, this was released in 2007. By then, still under the creative direction of Christopher Chong. This fragrance is just higher than Imagination because scent-wise it comes across a bit of a higher quality. To my nose, here, I mean, although I try to be as objective as possible, but to my nose, this comes across a bit of a more polished, more posh fragrance, and performance-wise is great as well. And that's why for me it's a bit higher than Imagination. However, this is not extremely unique. And that's why it's just in number 6 spot, because a lot of people compare this to Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Malle, which was released in the 90s. And although I don't see a full-on comparison, I don't see like that it's extremely similar, but definitely has features of Le Malle. It has that lavender and it has that sweetness that you can see and you can smell in Le Malle. But of course, more high quality, a bit more floral. The sandalwood here is also more prominent and it's beautiful. Of course, it has all of that. It's definitely a superior fragrance when compared to Le Malle. It's more elegant. I mean, it has everything and more when compared to Le Malle, but you can still see there's an inspiration there. There is an inspiration there, and so that's why it's just number 6 spot. It's not a fragrance that created trends. It's a fragrance that is more inspired on Le Malle, but definitely put it in a very different league. Nonetheless, fantastic scent, one of my all-time favorites. Very classy, very sophisticated perfume. I mean, really, if you want a fragrance to shine during the day, to special events, Reflection Man. It's fantastic, especially if you're not into more heavy, like Oriental fragrances. I mean, Reflection Man, it's the alternative for you. Great scent, number 6 spot, Reflection Man by Amouage. Now let's dive into the top 5, starting in the number 5 spot, Ombre Nomade. Maybe could be higher in the list, maybe, if this would be again just about popularity, but it's not. Now, this fragrance, at least in Portugal, in the Portugal Louis Vuitton boutique, this is the bestseller. And it's quite obvious because they have 3 testers for Ombre Nomade, and all the rest is just one tester to try. And then I talk with the sales rep, and I actually, just out of curiosity, asked which one is the bestseller, and she said, no, it's Ombre Nomade, it's not even close. The second would be Imagination. I think it was between Imagination and another fragrance, either Afternoon Swim. I think it was Afternoon Swim, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely Ombre Nomade, it was the highlight, and it's the best seller. And so that's why it's above Imagination. And in terms of popularity, I mean, I don't know. I think Imagination currently to this day is the most popular, but still, but this is as well up there, very up there. But this is a number 5. Again, this is the bestseller, at least in Portugal. Maybe is a bestseller in other boutiques, and maybe overall is a bestseller. But this was released in 2018. This is a number 5 and not higher because this is not unique. So this is all about oud, and it has this sweet raspberry quality, very incensey, ambery fragrance, a bit smoky. It's fantastic. It's really fantastic. Is it the best in its genre? No. So that's already, for me, one of the reasons why this is a bit lower. Also the unique part, how many oud fragrances, sweet oud fragrances you have out there. Countless, to say the least. And so all of that is the reason why this is just number 5. This created a trend. Well, it's the same as Imagination. We can say yes because it's again a bestseller, and because of that a lot of fragrances will try to copy this formula, but did not create a trend at the same time because it's not groundbreaking. It's not something new that you never smelled before when this came out. No, before this you already had so many sweet oud fragrances, and to this day you have even more. So that's why this is number 5. It's the unique factor, is a trend factor, that it's the reason that this is in number 5 spot. But again, in its genre, it's one of the best. I would say it's one of the best, but not the best. Nonetheless, great scent, great performance, very mysterious, dark fragrance, very seductive, great performance. I mean, highly advise for you to try this one if you have yet to. Ombre Nomade by Louis Vuitton. This time, number 5 spot. Now, coming in the number 4 spot, again from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This one is Baccarat Rouge 540. But this is the Parfum version, not the original. Maybe, but if it will be the original, it will be the same ranked. But I do prefer much more the Parfum. I'm not a big fan of the Eau de Parfum. I don't like the latex in there. It has more of this latex cotton candy feel that I really don't appreciate. Here it's more balanced. You don't get this cotton candy quality as intense as in the original. I think it's more balanced. And also the latex is not quite there. Although this is a sweet fragrance, very sweet perfume. It still has a cotton candy quality into it, definitely, but not as prominent as in the original, and it's not as harsh as the original, and it's quite addicting, honestly. It's this sweet, musky, cotton candy-ish fragrance that it's very addicting, very sexy to me. And I mean, it's the bestseller. It's the bestseller of Francis Kurkdjian, and this fragrance in fact created trends through and through. It's not just what happened with the Louis Vuitton that, okay, they are popular also because Louis Vuitton itself, it's popular, but also, I mean, scent-wise, it works. It's also bestseller. A lot of people talk about it, and of course, brands will try to copy that. Scent profile-wise is not unique. No, this fragrance, when it was released, it was extremely unique. You didn't have any fragrance that smelled like this before. So this is a trendsetter, definitely. Of course, the original came out first. No, I'm not really sure in terms of years. I'm forgetting, and apologies for that. But of course, this one was released after the Eau de Parfum. This was released like in the mid 2010s, mid to late 2010s. And it's a trendsetter, a fragrance that created trends, extremely unique, extremely original, and extremely simple. Really, nothing here screams like high quality and supernatural smelling ingredients. No, this is a very, let's say, synthetic fragrance, but just works. It simply works. And so you really need to give kudos to Francis Kurkdjian in that regard. I mean, he created a stunning scent just with very synthetic molecules, at least to me, but they are really well done. So that's that. And that's why for me this is a number 4 spot. Not enough to be in the top 3, and I will explain, but still number 4 spot. An honorable number 4 spot, Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait from Maison Frederic. Now we are heading for the top 3. Coming in number 3 spot from the house of Marc-Antoine Barrois, it is Ganymede. Ganymede, released in 2019, created by Canton Biche. And it's the reason why Canton Biche now it's incredibly popular. Like now he's literally everywhere. And I would almost say that he's the main parfumeur. He and Cécile Xerjoff like are the main parfumeurs at Amouage in terms of their new releases. But Canton Biche, it's been quite busy, still creating for other brands. But it all started with Ganymede. Now, Ganymede was not the first release of Marc-Antoine Barrois. The first release was B6A3, released like a year prior to Ganymede, I think maybe between 2017 and 2018. And then they released Ganymede. And Ganymede was released with the goal of turning the scent profile of B6A3 more fresh. So basically this has the same ingredients as B6A3, but making it a bit fresher. The B6A3 is indeed they definitely have similarities. These two could be almost flankers, because B6A3, it has this leather mineralic quality, but not as intense as in Ganymede, and it's a bit more spicy and a bit more suede, whilst here you get more this ozonic mineralic quality. Amazing scent. This is another fragrance that before it was released, you didn't have any fragrance that smelled like this. This created a trend, a massive trend that you see that other fragrance brands are following, and it made a huge impact in the fragrance industry. So, and it's the best seller of the brand as well. So that's why it's a number 3 spot. And also, I actually do love this. I tend to slightly prefer this to Baccarat Rouge. Also, I mean, unfortunately, as much as I want to be as objective as possible, but I mean, in perfume, it's really hard to be objective. And the fact is that I slightly, to this day, to this moment, I prefer this fragrance over Baccarat Rouge. And this saffron, osmanthus, violets, Akigala wood, it's just fantastic. It has, again, this mineralic, watery, leathery quality that it's extremely unique. It's very, very versatile. I mean, this is another parfum. You also have the Extrait that was released like a year ago or so. I just prefer the Eau de Parfum. I think it's more well balanced. Performance-wise, it's still fantastic. Very versatile. You can wear this literally everywhere. You'll be smelling amazing. So Ganymede in the number 3 spot. Now coming in the number 2 spot, it's from the house of Tom Ford. It's Tobacco Vanille. Now, is Tobacco Vanille the most popular fragrance from Tom Ford? I would say that it's Oud Wood, which I have Oud Wood, but it's in Lisbon. I still didn't brought it with me. So that's why I'm mentioning just Tobacco Vanille. But I mean, Tobacco Vanille, I think it's a close second, to be fair. and also because Tobacco Vanille created a trend. This was part of the original private blend collection of Tom Ford, released in 2007. And I mean, before Tobacco Vanille, there was no any sweet tobacco fragrance in the market as this. And after Tobacco Vanille, this really created, I would say, like almost like a genre in perfumery as the sweet tobacco fragrances. And now almost every brand has a sweet tobacco fragrance. All started here. And that's also one of the reasons why, I mean, Naxos is just in the 9th spot. I mean, before Naxos, we have not only Pure Van, but also Tobacco Vanille. And I love it. I mean, it's for me the reference in terms of sweet tobacco fragrances. It's just heavenly. This spicy, sweet dried fruits, honey-like tobacco vanilla fragrance is done to perfection. Very festive-like scent, great performance on my skin. But then again, I have this fragrance for a long time. It's actually a vintage formulation. So yeah, I'm just fortunate to have this formulation, but nevertheless, scent-wise, is glorious. For me, it's actually the reason why I love niche fragrances, and although this is not niche, but yeah, the Tobacco Vanille had a massive impact on my fragrance journey. And yeah, all of that combined, it's very well deserved in number 2 spot. Really, I mean, when compared to all the fragrances in the list, I mean, Tobacco Vanille, in terms of popularity, is extremely popular. It set the trends, incredibly unique. It's a reference in this genre, so I think it's well deserved the number 2 spot. And last, but certainly not least, in the number 1. Funny enough, this fragrance is not very popular. I mean, it is popular, but also it's not. It's not the most popular, like in social media, I would say. I mean, the brand itself, although popular, but it's not as popular as, for example, Amouage or Tom Ford or Louis Vuitton even. So the fragrance itself, it's not the most popular of this list, but scent-wise, I think is the best fragrance. Scent-wise, the quality, it's just superior. It's just superior to all of the fragrances that I mentioned this far. It was extremely unique when it was released. It created a trend, and it's actually the bestseller of the brand. And the brand is none other than Frederic Malle, Portrait of a Lady. Portrait of a Lady, the best in this genre in terms of rose patchouli fragrances. This was released in 2010, 10 or 11, created by Dominique Ropion, and it's a masterpiece of a fragrance. This is a masterpiece. And you see that I didn't use this word masterpiece before. This fragrance is a masterpiece. And I'm trying to be objective. Objectively, this is a masterpiece, if that is even possible to determine a fragrance has masterpiece objectively, I mean. But for me, this is a masterpiece again. Sweet, raspberry, rose, natural smelling rose, patchouli, a bit incense as well. Oh, a bit spicy, a bit peppery. Just stunning, stunning, stunning fragrance. When this was released, I mean, you didn't have much fragrances at all smelling like this. And after this was released, tons of brands created this scent profile, tons of them. And it's still relevant to this day. It's still the best seller of the brand. And it's a reference in this genre. For me, also one of the best rose fragrances out there. I have this bottle. Actually, this was the very first fragrance that I bought from this brand, Frederic Malle. It was the very first fragrance I bought full retail, paid full retail for this fragrance. That's why it's just a 50 ml. I would love to have a 100 ml though, but well, all my other fragrances from the brand are 100 ml, just this one is 50. But it's just stunning. Great performance. It's very mysterious, and it's a very serious fragrance. It's a type of fragrance that you use to go to opera, to go to very upscale events, and you want to make a stand. You want to stand out, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. I think it deserves the number one. Although it's not the most popular, but everything else checks. And so yes, Portrait of a Lady by Frederic Malle, number one spot in this ranked list. Guys, let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this video. Maybe let me know also what would you change in this ranking list. I would love to hear your opinion. Of course, I didn't mention like other extremely popular fragrances like Creed's Adventures or any Parfum de Marly or Initio Parfum, simply because I don't have them in my collection. I do have 3 Parfum de Marly fragrances like Herod, Habdan, and Wajan, which I love, to be honest, but I just don't have them with me. And even if I would have them here in Lithuania, I will not mention them because, again, I think Naxos and Tobacco Vanille are a bit above, scent, not only scent-wise, but I think in terms of popularity as well. But I mean, Parfum de Marly has other fragrances that maybe now are more popular, like Altan. I think it's extremely popular right now. I don't have it, don't care for it, to be honest. And again, Initio Parfum, Kurkdjian, Angel Share, super popular. I don't get the appeal because, again, it's not unique. And if I would have it, I mean, it would be low in the list. So there you have it. I'm not featuring some other extremely popular fragrances, more in the niche and exclusive line of things, just because I really don't care about them. But that's just me, that's just my taste. Guys, let me know everything in the comments down below if you agree or not with this list. What fragrances would you like maybe to include? How you would rank? If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Check out all the other fragrance content that I have available, and see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Ciao.